for me, it's one of those rare moments. I don't know if you feel the same way, but it's like you get to take a pause to kind of look up from everything you're currently doing and then look back at how you've come from that specific memory or moment. I like to think of it like a sort of wink from God saying, you see that? I was faithful then in that moment when you couldn't see what the future held. I made a way. And even now, when you can't see the next thing unfolding just yet, I'm faithful in this too. So keep going, Britt. It's all going to work out. And this happened to me recently. I saw a memory pop up in my feed from 2017, so like 6 years ago. It was a picture of my planner from that specific year, and the caption in the post was this transparent conversation I was having with my community about goals I had set at the top of the year and how I wasn't actually going to hit those goals in the time frame I had set. Now, it wasn't a woe is me post. Rather, I was taking this opportunity to educate my audience on how we tend to set goals and then feel like they have to happen in a certain time period, or else we end up saying like, abandon ship, maybe this goal is not meant for me. When in reality, goals can be more organic than that. I probably have an unpopular opinion, but like those SMART goals, and I used to teach those to my students. They were part of the curriculum to set those SMART SMART goals. But my opinion is that I don't think they're that smart. I think they box us in and cause us to give up before we ever even really get going. We often underestimate how long it takes to achieve the dream on our heart. And for me, it's much better to look at the process I have in place to make progress towards my goals versus solely focusing on the end outcome. And so this post that popped up in my memory piqued my curiosity so much so that I ended up going into my back closet and digging out my old planner so that I could give it a little look. I was curious about those goals and where life had progressed since that post 6 years ago. And side note, yes, I keep all of my old planners and journals because I think of it like a love letter from past me, because when I open old planners and journals to see the effort of my past, I get to see purpose played out. I get to see ideas that I tried and pivots that I made. I see inspired action and getting back up when I fall down. I get to see growth. And man, does that build a confidence in me that I'm capable of whatever stands in my way in this exact moment. So like seeing those old scribbles reminds me every time to just keep going, even when the path isn't clear. Past me inspires today me, because I wouldn't be her if she gave up. And friends, the same is true for you. Give the effort. Show up to your purpose every day. Try new things. Make pivots when necessary. Take action. Get back up when you fall down. Give yourself the gift of growth and progress, and just keep going, even if the path isn't clear. Because future you will be so freaking grateful that today you never gave up. And here's the deal. I know it can be really annoying to hear a message that says future you will be grateful when you're face down in tears, not seeing a way out of your current situation. For me to say future you when today you feels really tired, really worn out, really overwhelmed. It can be easy to brush this message off and feel like it's not for you, but it is. A few years ago, I started to adopt a different mindset when it came to overall self-care that I think ties into this. And rather than swapping self-care for self-indulgence in the uncomfortable moments, instead of lingering on worry of an unknown faraway future, in place of getting caught up in the worry and stress of the moment to moment, I started to consider what future me would be grateful for in a more narrow focus. Let me explain. Not like far off future Brit, because that can feel really overwhelming, but like tomorrow me. Like future Brit as tomorrow Brit. So I began to ask myself a really powerful question. What can I do today that would make future tomorrow me proud? What can I do today that would make tomorrow me grateful? What can I do today that would help make her day better and allow her to flourish? And eventually that led to an even bolder question to ask myself. And that's, is what I'm doing today going to make a future version of myself so insanely proud? Or is it drifting me away from my dreams? And you can ask yourself those same questions. What are you doing today that would make tomorrow you proud? What are you doing today that tomorrow you would be so freaking grateful for? What can you do today that would help your day be better tomorrow? What can you do today that would allow you to flourish tomorrow? And even bolder, is what you're doing today going to make a future version of yourself so insanely proud? Or are your habits, behaviors, actions, maybe thought processes drifting you away from your dreams? And the best part of these questions is that they're not the big stuff, y'all. They're the small things that make a difference when you string them together over time. And if you've been around here for a hot second, you know that I'm all about the small things, not all the things, the small things. And when you can string together small things one after another, you can be cognizant of your choices over a consistent period of time. I promise you that you are growing closer to that future version of yourself that you dream of. So here are 10 things you can do today that future you, like tomorrow you, will be so freaking grateful for. And disclaimer is, I actually do these things in real life that help me streamline my days so that there's less things to think about and more things that are just in place that help me feel my best and allow me to work towards my goals. So the first thing I do is I set my clothes out for the morning. Every night before I go to bed, I set out my clothes for the next morning. Now, for me, that looks like my workout clothes, but there have been seasons in my life where those clothes were what I was wearing to go teach little kids in the morning for elementary school. And so it just helps streamline my morning. Setting your clothes out for morning. It's also an intention and a promise you're setting for yourself of like, tomorrow, this is who I'm going to be. I'm going to be the person that gets up and puts on her workout clothes and does the dang thing. The second thing I do is I prep meals ahead of time. Now, I don't love a big meal prep where I prep like all the things for the week. I love to have a game plan, but I do prep some things to make, especially mornings, easier. So breakfast is not my favorite meal of the day. If I had one meal that I could like do away with forever, it would be breakfast. It's just not my favorite. But it's really easy because of that for me to skip breakfast. So knowing that, I prep breakfast ahead of time, whether it's overnight oats, egg cups, or just making sure I have something that's really easy to grab and go, like avocado toast. I make sure that breakfast is one of the things that's definitely prepped ahead of time. The other thing I like to prep ahead of time are lunches. I like to make sure that at least to start the week, we have lunches already in place. So on Sundays, I'll set aside a little bit of time and I get breakfast put together. I get a couple lunches put together and maybe a couple dinner things like chopped up or ready. Usually what we have for Sunday becomes like Monday's leftovers for dinner. So that also helps me streamline my week. But I have a game plan and I prep that stuff ahead of time. Number 3 is filling your water bottle up so that it's ready for the next day. It's really easy to drink water and be hydrated, and it's really easy to just let that slip aside. So for me, future me is really grateful for past me when I just fill up my water bottle before I go to bed. That way in the morning, I can just grab it and go. Number 4, I go to bed at a time that allows me to get enough rest for tomorrow. I know some of you are in a season where you're like completely rolling your eyes at me. And for that, like you have a special place in heaven, like you're a saint. But if you can really look at what time you're going to bed and see, is that going to give you enough rest for the next day? That is going to make future you so freaking grateful. Rest is not something we need to earn. There was a huge season in my life where I really thought that rest was like for when you were dead, right? And you just, when you're alive, you just move and you hustle and you shake. And that caught up to me in serious ways. And so I know that I flourish, that I am my best self when I'm well rested. Okay, number 5 is similar to number 2, where I prep my meals ahead of time. Number 5 is I make a meal plan for the week and I get my groceries. And again, this can seem so simple. It's easy to do. It's easy not to do. But I promise you, Wednesday me, who's tired, doesn't feel like cooking, doesn't really want to do much of anything but drive through and grab some food that's already pre-made for her, I'm always grateful that I have a plan in place and that the groceries are already in the house. It streamlines those moments when I'm lacking motivation. Number 6, I decide my top 3 priorities and I show up for them every day. Every day in my planner right here on my desk, I will write down what are the 3 things that I want to get done today, that are needle movers, that are going to get me closer to my goals, less fluff. And I make sure that I fill my best hours with those 3 priorities, that I actually show up for them. So they could be work related, they could just be life related, but I make sure that I don't have, like, I used to keep all the to-do lists of a million things, and I still have like running lists of things I want to get done. But when I can really hone in on the 3 things that matter most and show up for them, it makes my days less stressful. I'm not trying to do all the things and then I feel like I fell short. I have 3 things and I show up for them. Number 7, I tidy my living spaces and I clean up my kitchen before bed. Again, this seems so small, but this is something that future me is always grateful for. When I wake up in the morning and my house is not a mess, my day already starts off on a better foot. Even when I'm tired, cleaning up my kitchen and just making sure that all the dishes are kind of put away, it always makes for a better morning the next day. So tidying up my living space, cleaning up the kitchen before bed, it's a small thing, but it makes a big impact on how I feel, future me feels like, AKA tomorrow. Number 8, I know what workout I'm going to do and when I'm going to do it. And I like to think this, when I've worked with women in the past in my coaching business, I would always remind them that it's like an appointment with yourself. Like if you had a dentist appointment or a massage booked, you'd be there probably early, right? And so when we know what workout we're going to do, but more specifically, not just what we're going to do, when are you going to do it? And it's in your calendar, like an appointment with yourself, you're going to be less likely to cancel. Now, if you need to actually have this booked, like I love booking my Saturday morning yoga classes, because when it's booked and I paid the money in advance for it, I'm going to get out of bed and I'm going to make sure I make it happen, right? So if you are that type where it's like, it's not going to get done unless I have like an actual time I have to be there, then I encourage you to find a studio or find a fitness center, find a class to take that's going to make you make it an appointment. But knowing what workout I'm going to do and when I'll do it, it streamlines it so that when I wake up and I put those workout clothes on, I don't have to waste time considering like, what do I want to do today? What do I feel like doing today? When do I think I'll do it? It's already an appointment. It's already set. Number 9, listen or read something that inspires you every day. Today, me is so grateful for all of the books, all of the podcasts, all of the resources that I've poured into me that have helped inspire me and grow me to where I am today. I was reading in my book this morning, actually, about how a lot of us, we're kind of part of the system where we go to college, get a degree, and then that's kind of when education stops around age like 23. Guys, like we are lifelong learners. We are. And to live a life where we feel like our perspective, our opinions, our desires, the things that we like to do, the things that light us up, our passions, that we're done learning about them at age 23, I think that's ridiculous. I'm still ever evolving and finding things that interest me and that I like to try. And I wouldn't do that if I didn't keep being a student of myself. And the last one, you guys, map out your schedule for tomorrow and include your breaks and those top 3 priorities. So again, just like if you were scheduling an appointment with the dentist or a massage, you would put that in your planner. I want you to take a second every day at the end of the day before you shut down your workday. For me, that looks like in my office, I kind of tidy things up, I wrap up, and I look at my calendar and I write out my schedule for tomorrow. I include breaks because rest is important. I include where my priorities are going to go in my day, and I write them out so that I already know before I go to bed or before I close shop for the day what I'm about to set up for tomorrow. But mapping out my schedule for tomorrow, again, I know it seems so small, but future me becomes so grateful for it because it's less stress about what is it that I have to do. If you have kids, if you have a household that you're running, this is also going to help you to know what to anticipate for tomorrow. So when you're getting ready to, wind down for the night, you can see, okay, who needs lunches or what sports do we have? What activities are going on? And it will help you to not feel so chaotic. I know those 10 things that I just listed off, you're like, okay, how is this impacting future me? But again, when we can narrow our focus and think about future you as like tomorrow you, we can start making choices today that help us shape our habits for our life. You might not realize it, but what you're doing today, those daily habits, they are shaping your life. Hitting snooze too often without a real game plan for your day, it can lead to a lackluster life. Putting off a workout or eating like a toddler can prevent you from feeling your best. Not having clear goals doesn't really give you a target to aim for each day. So while that list can seem like, well, that's not mind-blowing, that's the point. It's not going to be mind-blowing. They're the simple, small things that lead to a really freaking awesome, fulfilling life. Friends, what you do every day matters and influences your future in subtle but profound ways. So start to take notice of what today you is doing. Is it in alignment with where future you desires to be? Will past you be so grateful for the version of you today that didn't throw in the towel? Just keep asking those questions. Keep checking in with yourself, and then bravely adjust if you need. If the answer that comes back is not one that is guiding you where you desire to go, adjust it if you need. Because you have it in you today, in this moment, to choose how you're going to show up. And I promise you that even if it's hard, and spoiler, it probably will be, when you look back on it all, I promise you, it's going to be so, so worth it. Friends, as always, I am forever and always rooting for you. I love you so much, and I can't wait to see you guys next week here on Midweek Motivation.